I am back today with another high-value scope option from Monstrum Tactical. This is their brand new 4-16 first focal plane scope with a zero stop and a ton of other features, including an illuminated reticle and side parallax, and this one is called the Hornet. It comes in at an incredibly affordable price of right around $160. But like Monstrum Tactical does for the release of new videos, they sent this optic out to the channel at my request to try, and on top of that, they created a discount code specifically for my viewers, valid for about 30-ish days. So if you're looking at this video when it first posts, you can actually save 20% off, dropping the price under $130, making this one of the absolute best first focal plane 4-16s you can possibly get for that price range. Now we'll talk about the specs and features and the positives and negatives, because not everything can be perfect. So I want to go in detail about the likes and the dislikes of this optic, but this is a pretty awesome option. Now it actually comes with the flip-up lens covers inside the box, as well as the throw lever already attached, and scope rings. I'm actually using one of the new offset scope mounts from Monstrum Tactical, and if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get a full review of this mount, as well as opportunities to save money. Happen to be watching this video after the 30 days and the code is expired, definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next code. I'll also do a lot of Friday deal alert videos, so if any new codes pop up, I will be posting them on there, so make sure you're checking those out. You can also follow me on my Instagram page for daily deals, as well as info on ways to save. But let's continue to talk about this optic. So we already know we get everything we need in the box to mount it up to whatever you want, but it also comes with this standard 30mm tube. So if you don't like the mounts in the box, you can do what I did and swap them out with this one. Now, nothing against the scope rings in the box, they're actually very nice, but I like the offset mount for a flat top AR, and again, Monstrum Tactical has a lot of those options. The other thing I want to mention is the controls on this optic are done very nicely. Now, if you've tried some of their other scopes, this is a different setup entirely. I wouldn't say it's better. I wouldn't say it's worse. It's just different, and there's going to be positives and negatives, but this option is much more affordable, making it a really good deal in my opinion. You do have the illumination knob. This is definitely not daytime bright. You're going to be using that for twilight and dusk shooting and hunting applications. Not a big deal. I'm really glad they have it, and it has an off position between each illumination setting, so you can get that kind of dialed in where you want. It also has a nice side parallax adjustment all the way down to right at about 10 yards, which is great, especially for those shooters who are going to slap this on something like a 22 and shoot up close. You can actually get it dialed in at 10, 15, 20, 25 yards for some of those 22 matches you may be shooting, or just kind of get it sighted in with that first shot at about 25 yards. But having that parallax adjustment being that flexible from 10 yards to infinity is very nice, and I'm glad to see it on the side of this optic. The other cool thing about the controls are the turrets themselves. The side turret is a locking turret, so you pop it out and then you click it. The clicks are actually audible and tactile, and they're done very nicely. It's got good knurling, a very high-vis numbering system and hash marks, so you can see what you're doing. And this one actually has a zero stop, so it's not a locking turret, but as you're clicking up and you forget how many times you've rotated up, you can actually slam it back down and it stops on zero. This is also one of the easiest zero stops I've ever used on any price range scope optic period. It just simply works. And the zero stop is not set from the factory, so you can actually dial up or down to get your optics sighted in, and once you dial it up or down, depending on what mount you're using and what rifle you're setting it on, you simply loosen this top cap. You pop off this top, you rotate it exactly back to the zero, and then you drop it back on, and from there you tighten the set screw internally, and now the zero stop is set. Everything is self-explanatory. It's incredibly simple, and again, very nice to see a zero stop on a sub $300 or $400 optic, let alone a sub $200 optic, especially with the discount. Again, bringing this under $130, right at about $128, $129. The other controls that I want to talk about is the zoom lever on this optic right here. One of the smoothest Monstrum Tactical scopes I've ever felt with the zoom lever. Occasionally they can be a little bit stiff, but this one is incredibly smooth. Again, 4-16, it has this massive throw lever right here. And if you wanted to kind of adjust that, you can unscrew that screw and slide that off, I believe. I haven't done so. I like it the way it is. We're good to go. It also has the adjustable diopter located on the back to get everything dialed in for the proper eye relief. Now, with all of that being said, let's talk about the glass clarity, the eyebox, and its performance down at the range. This scope tracked great. It was a couple shots sight in, no issues whatsoever. It dialed in nicely. And because this is a first focal plane optic, as you zoom in and out, the reticle zooms in and out. And really, could have been a one-shot sight in if I took my time. I think it took about 2 to 3 shots because those MOA adjustments were just spot on with the tracking of the optic. I showed I think a 10 MOA rise and then maybe like a 3 MOA shift. I dialed that in, took my next 2 shots, and we kind of walked it right into 0. Man, after that, I set the 0 stop, and we were good to go. I mean, this thing was rock solid the rest of the time, holding 0, so no issues whatsoever there. The next thing I want to discuss about this optic is that glass clarity, and it's pretty darn good. You're going to have some sacrifices at some point in this scope, and then the glass clarity is going to be one of those. When you're looking through some more premium scopes, even scopes with Japanese glass, climbing the $400 or $500 range, you're going to have a big noticeable difference in just overall quality when you're looking down the scope downrange. But for that $300-ish and under price point, this is great. And again, we have to remember it's competing with $300 optics, but it's at the price of sub 200 and even sub 150 after these discounts. So that is great glass for this optic. I've reviewed other and have looked at other 4-16s, not even first focal planes, for about $200, and this glass is definitely a lot better than that other one. So it's a good glass quality for the price range that it's in. And just remember, you're going to get what you pay for when it comes to glass quality at different levels. But this one in this price bracket of sub $300 is killing it. It's definitely great for everything else. Now the eyebox and eye relief is pretty good. The 4 power setting, you're definitely way more forgiving. At the 16 power setting, you're tight. You're real tight. You're going to have the stock down into where you want. You're going to have your cheek locked up rock solid, and it's going to be about that at the 6 power setting. But the reticle itself is incredibly usable across the entire setup. Now, I hope you guys can see that reticle in the intro, but if you want a more detailed approach to the reticle, you can actually head over to the site, and that info will be in the description below as well as the code. And it's a Christmas tree style reticle with MOA adjustments in large leader lines. This reticle is perfectly usable at that 4 power setting, and a lot of times first focal planes are really difficult to see at the minimum zoom power, but this one does a good job of having very large duplex leader lines into the center, and then with that illumination makes it great for twilight hunting applications or dusk hunting applications because you can really take your shots accordingly. Then you can have all of that info in that Christmas tree style reticle as you zoom in to take your shots at a distance. Now once you're at the 16 power setting, it does have a center dot. About the only thing I would change with that reticle selection would be a chevron. I just think everything needs to go to chevron, but that's my personal opinion. The center dot works great. And again, we are talking about a great kind of jack of all trades, SPR scope, bolt action rifle scope. I mean, this is good. This, back in the day, a standard 3-9 with a duplex reticle seemed to be the industry standard for right around $150 to $200. Well, in comes things like the Monstrum Tactical 4-16 Hornet, completely blowing that out of the way. I mean, this is just a great option with a ton of specs and features like illuminated reticle, side parallax, nicer turrets, a 0 stop, a good throw lever, and halfway decent glass and eyebox and eye relief for what you get. This is an incredibly good opportunity to snag a high-value option for that kind of high-value and budget SPR build. Again, all of the information, linking, and codes will be in the description below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to this channel for more deals and overviews. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.